Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic and a puzzle by Lithium Ion that is tributing or paying homage to Phistomefel because it features his ring in a cage. I'm not sure that the rule set necessarily allows for that cage to matter as a Phistomefel ring, but well, I mean, it's just an intriguing setup and I'm looking forward to giving this a try. Lithium Ion not famed for being very easy. You can tell from the video length if that has been maintained. And firstly, I'm going to mention that on Patreon we've got the brilliant Back to the Future Sudoku Hunt. That is epic, fantastic, wonderful, and really rather good. That's by Blobs, and that is a guarantee. On Patreon also, new connections video, crossword videos, all sorts. And SVEN'S SUDOKU Pad is available on the links under the video. You can support Sven there if you want. It's great. There's also, of course, our apps, which feature Killer Sudoku. I don't know if that's relevant today. Actually, maybe Line Sudoku is. Don't know. Anyway, but also Fog of War and the worms. And there are worms coming out all over the place, so check it out. Now, we've got... What are the rules here? Double the fun by Lithium Ion. Where's the doubling come in? Okay, normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 will go in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. I can't highlight a box for some reason, but I've done it. Now, digits are not allowed to repeat on any positive diagonal, i.e. any diagonal going from the lower left part of the grid to the upper right. So this is a positive diagonal. That's due to the mathematical relationship between x and y. Digits can't repeat on that diagonal or on this one. They can't repeat on this one, etc. That's a really odd rule. I mean, if you'd asked me, can you make a puzzle that fulfills that? I wouldn't have been 100% sure. I know you can't make a puzzle that fulfills that for both positive and negative diagonals. A digit, call it x, in a black circle, indicates, so let's make that yellow, indicates how many of the up to 8 neighbouring cells, i.e. orthogonally and diagonally adjacent, how many of those 8 cells contain a digit that is in a 1:2 ratio with x. So whatever this is, if it could make a black dot in the traditional style with one of these or one of those digits, it adds up how many that's true for in purple, and that is the digit. Okay, that's strange. That's a strange rule. I don't know what the implications are. All black circles are given, so there's a negative constraint on that, which is going to be cruel. The sum of the digits in Phistomefel's ring marked by the cage is prime. Yeah, I don't wish to be rude, and I'm sure it'll come in later, but what a useless rule. Isn't it? I think it is. It's useless at the beginning of the puzzle anyway. I mean, that's weird. That's a weird rule set. All the black circles are given where this fundamental relationship can take place between this digit in the circle and its surrounding cells of how many can have a black dot. What an intriguing rule. Give it a try on that first link under the video. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. Well, there's no givens in the grid. There's no clue what number this could be. For instance, I'm just picking any circle in the center. So let's go to the corner. It's a decent rule of thumb in puzzles with circles that do a sort of minesweeper job around them to try the ones which have the least possible cells. So this can only count up to 3 cells. So the digit is 1, 2, or 3. Now, how many could be in a relationship with 1? Well, that's plausible. This could be a 1, and one of these would be a 2. If this was a 2, these digits would include 1 and 4. Oh, there are, yeah. I've only just worked out the digit that goes in a black circle has to be one of the what I call black dot digits, the digits that can go on a black dot. What I'm saying to you is that 5, 7, and 9, which don't have a Sudoku partner that can be on a black dot with them, can never go in a circle because their count of the surrounding cells would always be 0. So we did know something about the cells. We knew that they were all 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8. So let's just put that in to start with. Crazy pencil marking. Now there's much more than that. 8 can never go in these circles, can it? Because that would require all the digits around it to be 4. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's miles away. 6 can't go in them because it would require 6 of the digits surrounding them to be a 3. And there are only 3 rows involved, so that's not possible. It's quite difficult for 3 to go in one of these cells, because it would have to have 3 6s touching it. But as I say that, I notice that in box 9, we've got all 4 circles. By which I mean, these digits are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it clearly is possible for a circle to be a 3 or a 4, and it does happen here. Well, that's interesting. Right, this one is not a 3 because they would all 3 have to be 6s to have black dot relationships with the circle. So that's 1 or 2. This one in the middle, a cell in the middle of a square, of a box, is always counting the other 8 Sudoku digits. So 1 would be fine in the middle of a box because there'd be 1, 2 around it. 2 would need a 1 and a 4 around it. That would also be fine. 3 and 4 are not possible in the middle because if you put 3 there, you'd need 3 6s around here, and if you put 4 there, you'd need 4 8s and 2s in this area, and obviously there can only be 1 of each. So now we've got a 1, 2 pair in the box. These 2 cells are 3 and 4. This one can't be 3. That's weird. Even though it's on the perimeter, it's going to have to be the higher digit. This one can't be 3 because there's only 2 rows involved to put 6s in around that 3. And it would need 3 of them. So that must be 3. Now, there's going to be a 6 in that row, in that row, and that row. Okay, another way of looking at that is how many boxes can have a 6? Well, I think there's got to be 1 in this box, then 1 in this row and 1 in this column, and they can't be on the overlap here, or else, yeah, basically if that was a 6, it would force 6s out of these. You could only have 1 there, you wouldn't get to the number 3. So I think there's a 6 there, there's a 6 up there, and there's a 6 down there. Now this has become a 4, and that is going to need, it's only looking into 2 boxes in these cells, and in these yellow cells it's going to need 2 2s and 2 8s. The 2 and the 8 from both places, so that's a 2, that's an 8, this must be 2, because if that was 2, this 4 doesn't reach it. And then we need an 8 in the yellow again, and there we go. We've fulfilled, actually we've fulfilled everything in this, all of these circles. Okay, let's colour them orange for fulfilled. This 2 has to see 2 lots of 1 and 4 in this area. Oh, sorry, that's a 1. So if it sees a 1, we worked out that I should have looked for cells in the centre of boxes. That and that are the only 2. We worked out it can only be 1 or 2. 3 and 4 can't do that job. So this one isn't 3 or 4. It now is not 2 in the box. It's a 1. And it's effectively, it's fulfilled by that 2 very specifically. This 2 now sees a 1 and a 4. Neither of these digits can be a 1 and a 4, and that is already the case by Sudoku. So they're fulfilled. Right, this is not 3 or 4. This is not 2. This is not 1, but this digit can't be a 3. And it can't be a 4, because those 5 digits can't have any repeats in. So that's a 2. And then in this box, 1 and 4 are in these cells. Well, 4 was always going to be, once we've marked it there, it can't be in these cells. But we now know that 1 is in one of these cells. Sudoku tells us it's not in those. So there's a 1 in one of those. And if we obey the pencil marks, that's now fulfilled. It's clever, this. I haven't used the diagonal line rule at all. Actually, what is the method of using that? This is going to make the grid look busy, but I can't be just looking up on the slant all the time. I'm going to draw lines in, lots of lines that, I mean, I don't have to draw one into those 3 cells because they're obviously by Sudoku not allowed to be the same. So I'm going to draw a line into those 4, and they mustn't have any repeat digits by this rule. So let's do some quite light coloured lines to try and keep it less busy than it might otherwise be as a grid. Is pink too dark? No, let's do these repeats. Yellow. I'm sorry, you have to watch me do this kind of housekeeping function on this puzzle because otherwise I'm just going to lose track of these lines, and they're going to be quite important, the long ones especially, at some point in the puzzle, and I suspect that point is approaching. Yeah, look, I've just seen something interesting. 1 on the line I just drew, for instance. Yeah, we've got 1 more to draw. So, there we go. I probably won't get rid of those lines during the puzzle because I can't see. Oh, 6 got fixed, didn't it, around this 3. Once we put 8 there, that was one of the candidate places for 6. So that's a 6, that's a 6, that's a 6. And now the thing I spotted about 1 really comes into its own. This can't be a 1 because it's on the yellow line already. This rule is going to be very, very important, I now think. So that digit is where 1 must go in the box because it had to be around the 2. And now this 1 has got that 2 seen. It doesn't see any 2s in those cells, and therefore this digit is a 1. And since this 1 couldn't now see a 2 in any of those cells by Sudoku, I can colour it. It's fulfilled. This 1 is only going to see a single 2 in that group of cells. And that 2 is not in those 2 because of that 1, in that 1 because of that 1, or in those 3 because of that 1. So it's there, and that 1 is fulfilled. That is on a diagonal with this, which also sees 3. So this digit is 2 or 4, but this is in a position where 4 could occur if 4 of these cells were 2 and 8. Oh, hang on. 2 and 8 are ruled out of those 3. So for this to be a 4, 4 of these cells would be 2 and 8. This digit can't be 2 or 8. And these 3 can't all be 2 and 8. So that is not a 4, that is a 2. And therefore, 2 of these cells are 4 and 8. And that's a lot harder to account for. I know the 8's in that group. Hang on. I was talking about 2 and 8. That's nonsense. No, it isn't nonsense. For the 4, which was what I was considering, it's not nonsense to talk about 2 and 8. Yeah, that was all right. Sorry. So that is a 2. And I think I may have said something about 8. What we now need is these cells to contain 2 lots of 1 and 4 only. Sorry if I said that wrong. Now, I'm going to leave that because I don't know what to do with that. That's not a 2 by Sudoku. This is not 2 or 3. This is, can this be a 4? My answer is no, because 4 of these digits would have to be 2 and 8. Well, fine, you could put 2 and 8 there, but you can't put them here because we already had 2 in the box. So that's a 1. That's looking at that digit on the diagonal. So that's not allowed to be 1. I wonder if this is going to be 3 again, so we can get another 3 into the puzzle. Yeah, I don't know that. That's my speculation. We'll see. That digit can't be 1 by Sudoku, and that can't be 2. Now, 5, 7, and 9 have become a set of digits in box 9. 8 in row 7 is there. These digits include a 4. Oh, I've still got to focus on this. A bit. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. This one needs a 2 around it, and that doesn't come in this box. So it's going to come in one of those cells, and as long as I obey that pencil mark, that is resolved. Now, by Sudoku, there's a 2 in one of those cells. Oh, let's use the 1s on the diagonal. They can't be 1. That can't be 1. By ordinary Sudoku, those can't be 1s. So the 1 in the central box is in one of these cells. And then by Sudoku, there's a 1 in one of these 2. And by the diagonal rule, it's not in that one. So I find out by Sudoku and the diagonal rule that this digit is a 1. And it's already got its 2. So that is now not a 2, and that is. And neither of these are 2s, and that's okay because we've already specified where 2 goes up there. So that's fulfilled. Now, this 2 has got one of its neighbours that it's counting. It's got a 1. It's not going to get another 1 around it, because none of those can be a 1. So it's going to get a single 4 in one of those cells. And I don't know much about where that is yet. But by Sudoku, 2 and 2, there's a 2 in one of these 2 cells. This digit cannot be 3, because you can't put 3 6s in 2 boxes. It can't be 4 either, because that would need the 2 and 8 in this box to be touching it, and in fact even the 2 wouldn't work, and the 2 certainly can't touch it in this box, so that's a 2 by the rule rather than by anything else. Now, that 2 now needs a 1, no, not necessarily, it needs 2 lots of 1 and 4. I don't know enough about 4s in the puzzle. Actually, I know there's 1 in those cells. I know there's a 6 in one of those. Oh, look at this, 2, 6, 3, 8 on the line. This cell also sees 1 and 4. So we get how on earth are we ever going to disambiguate 5, 7 and 9 in this puzzle? Oh, you know what? That's going to be by this bizarre Phistomefel ring rule. None of the circles distinguish between 5, 7 and 9, because not only can you not put 5, 7 or 9 in a circle, you don't care how many of those circles are touching 5, 7 or 9 for the count. It's just irrelevant. The diagonals are not on their own going to sort out 5, 7 and 9 because they can't tell the difference between them. So unbelievably, it's going to be the Phistomefel ring not being prime that is somehow, if this puzzle is solvable at all, going to sort that out. And that's a very odd feature. Oh, 3 in this puzzle, in this box, is in one of those cells, so neither of these can be a 3, so we're not going to get 3 here. Have a feeling these will be, well, I mean, my last feeling was rubbish, so let's not think about the feelings particularly. There's a 1 in one of those cells. We know there's a 1 in one of those. Have we finished 2s in the grid, or can we, using the diagonal lines? 2 can't go there on the yellow line or there on the grey line, so it's here in box whatever that is. And now we've got 2 into the circle by the rule. No, by Sudoku, effectively, by the diagonal rule and Sudoku. Now, how are we doing on 1s? We've got 6 of them marked. I don't know. Can this be a 4? If this was a 4, it would need 2 and 8 to be touching it in that box and in that box. Well, it's not, 2 is not going to touch it in that box. So this is a 1. We've filled all the circles. That 1 is actually fulfilled because that's the only 2 that can touch it. So I've just got to work out these. That 2 is now not touching a 1. So it's got to touch 4 in both boxes. So it's got to touch a 4 in box 1 and a 4 in box 4. And that at least might limit 4s. So 4 being in one of those cells keeps it out of all of these cells. 4 is also not in those two, so the 4 in this box is in one of those two cells, touching the 2, which we sort of remember it had to. I'm going to have to colour 5s, 7s and 9s. I mean, literally, there's going to be no way of keeping them separate from each other except by colouring them. So let's go with the primary colours here where we're starting and just see if anything materialises. Actually, it's going to be much easier to put in to put in the digits that aren't 5, 7 and 9. So maybe they come at the end of trying to fill the grid. It's difficult. I mean, why am I thinking so much strategically about how to do the puzzle, not just trying to do it? Because I don't really know how to do it. There's the negative constraint. Where on earth is that going to operate? Right, it's going to operate here. Oh, Sudoku operates here. That's not a 1. Bother. I was just going to point out this couldn't be a 1 because of the negative constraint, but it didn't. It turned out not to matter. Let's put 1 there. Okay, let's get rid of the orange colouring. I will colour the other circles that still have to have their 4s very specifically determined green. And I'm getting rid of orange because I really want to start focusing soon on red, yellow and blue, I think. The digit here is going to be yellow, the 5, 7 or 9 that's here. So that is either red or blue, and one of those is red or blue. I've finished 1s now. No, I have finished 1s now if I write the last one in. There it is. 1s are done. 1 and done. I've finished 2s. How about 4s? Is that the next category to focus on? I've got a few, 6s isn't bad. No, but I mean, I'm not going to know anything else about 6s once we get outside the southeast, or 3s where I've only got 1 digit in the grid. But I mean, I know I've only got also 1 digit in 4s, but at least I'm narrowing down 4 into some places. And those two both see that cell, 1 on a diagonal and 1 not. Oh, the negative constraint, hang on, that was good for that 1. Right, maybe the 1s and 2s that I've written in. Well, no, the 1s are all done, doesn't matter. This 2 is interesting. This 2 is very interesting. 4 cannot sit in those cells because that 2 would have a circle around it. I mean, that's hard. Right, so 4 is in one of those 2 and not now in those. So now we've got it getting 4 limited into the rows quite hard. We're going to get a 4 in one of those cells. It would be very useful to know which of these was a 4. Now, this 2, if a single 1 of these was a 4, that 2 would have a circle around it. So there's either none of these are 4s, or 2 or 3 of them. That's really strange. I don't know how to use it. This can't have a 4, we know that. This one can't have exactly 2 4s in that region. I mean, this is tricky stuff. It's only going to matter for 1s and 2s in the grid. Or maybe a 4 somewhere. Very unlikely that this rule is going to matter even for a 4. This negative constraint rule is what I'm talking about. Okay, let's think about the whole long diagonal. We've got a 1 and a 2 on it. Is there any other digit that's quite constrained? Because every digit must appear on this long blue diagonal. And that's unusual. That's interesting in a way. or if we could rule one single digit off the grey diagonal anywhere, we would know that all the other digits would be on it. Yes, we can. We've placed all the 2's and there's no 2's on this. So every digit appears on this grey diagonal apart from 2. How do we use that? Or is it unfortunately a case of just not yet? This is tricky stuff. I don't know. Okay, if that was a 4, that would be the last digit of 4 that could be seen by this 2. So that would have to be the 4 in box 7. Now, let's just have a think about that, because that takes 4 off a number of cells in the central box. Ah, this is weird. There's some sort of interrelationship between all of these 4's. Ah, it's difficult. It's difficult. Just bear with me while I think about this some more. I loved the comment from somebody the other day when I was saying, oh, you must think I'm very dumb. What I'm thinking you are is a wizard. How are you doing this? Which was charming, almost literally. I'm not being wizard-like at the moment. Lizard-like, maybe. Now, it's interesting. Okay, let's go again. If that was a 4, that would have to be a 4. Because of this 2. Then, the 4 in the central box would be in one of those 3 positions, as far as I can see. Oh, here's a maybe more important point. If either of these are the 4 on... No, if that is the 4 on yellow, this is quite interesting. If that's the 4 on yellow, these 2 can't be a 4. This 2 is trying to get 1 4, and it would have to get that one. So this digit being a 4 implies that is a 4. This is the only place for 4 on the diagonal in... Sorry, in box 2, this would be the only place for 4 because of the diagonals coming through it. That would mean that this 2 would be touching that 4, and it's got to find another one, and the only place it's allowed to now is there, but this 2 is not going to get any 4's now. Okay, that is extraordinary and confusing. I'm going to actually draw them in so you can see what I'm saying. If that was a... Oh, no, just this cell. If that was a 4, you couldn't put 4 there and there. This 2 needs a 4, so it's got to be there. Now, by the diagonals, none of these are 4's. So that would have to be a 4. And that has actually now just stopped this 2 getting the 4 that it needs to fulfill it, because none of these digits can be a 4 anymore, nor can that, and that can't because we've penciled 4 up there. So that is not a 4. Now, I mean, it seems like a tiny bit of deduction, but it's not, because now one of these 2 is a 4. That is fulfilled, and this is not a 4 because of that. So this is a 4, and that's going to keep 4 out of that cell. This is also not yellow now. This is definitely yellow, 5, 7, or 9. Now, is that going to help here? It is, because look, this 2 needs 2 4's around it. We've now got this one saying none of those cells. It also can't be there or there by the pencil marks we've had. So the two 4s are going to include one on the grey line and only one, and this cell has to be a 4. And now we know where the one on the grey line is by Sudoku. Good Lord above. Now that's the only... hang on, that's on the same line. I'm wrong. Oh no. Right, let's go back a bit. Let's go back all the way to this 4. I can't understand that. That was going perfectly. Right, I want to do this again. I said if that was a 4, this can't be and this can't be, but this 2 needs 1 4 around it. That's definitely true, and it would have to be there. And with 4s there and there, this would have to be a 4. And now I didn't think this 2 could get fulfilled, because it still needs a 4. So my claim then was one of these 2 is a 4 and is the only 4 this 2 needs, and that's not a 4 and this is a 4. And that meant none of these are a 4, but this 2 needs 2 4s around it. It needs one in this column and one in this column. The one in this column has to be there, and that's on this grey line, and that would put a 4 here, but now I couldn't put a 4 anywhere in box 2. That is so depressing and distressing. I was doing really well, and now it's fallen apart. Have I miscounted something? As this 2's not, it's got 1 1. This 2 doesn't have any, and it needs 2 4s. This 2 needs 2 4s. This 2 had to not have a 4 there, or it would have a circle. So 4 was in one of those cells. Then this 2 needs 2 of them, so they're there and there. I just don't understand what's happened here. If I did put a 4 here, that would rule out these possible 4s and would force a 4 to be here. But I think a 4 here would, well, it would allow that to be a 4, but now we couldn't make that a 4. This is just not going to get its number. What am I doing wrong here? I think I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm thinking that 2, I think I've got it. I'm thinking that 2 needs a 4 around it. That is incorrect. It needs not to have a single 4 around it. Right. It is a very different situation then. Okay, I'm so sorry. For some reason I was thinking of that as a circled 2. It's not. This is an uncircled 2, so these can't represent a single 4. They must represent 0, 2, or 3 4s. I did say that. Well, it can't be 3 4s because 2 of them are yellow. So either those 2 are both 4s, or none of these 3 are 4s. Now, let's back up a bit. Let's say that this was a 4. Then neither of those are 4s. Now this one can't be, so that won't have any. That's better. So if that's a 4, that's a 4. Now the 4 in the central box can't be... Okay, I'm going to paint this in because I can see what to do now. If this was a 4... Yeah, goodness, those can't be 4s, and then therefore that can't be a 4. So that would be a 4. And now all of these digits can't be 4s. I said earlier, I mentioned that this can't be a 4 because it sees both of those cells, one of which is a 4 and one of which is on the diagonal, one of which is in the vertical. So this digit would be the only place for 4 in the central box. Okay, I thought I was just proving that this doesn't happen. And maybe instead what I'm proving is that it does. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm off beam here. Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, it is possible for a 4 to be there, and we're not broken yet. And it's getting very interesting, to be honest. If I can just prove something about 4 in box 5. Right, that is the only place in column 3 where a 4 could be surrounding that too. And if it was, that wouldn't be a 4. So the second place in column 2 where there would be a 4 is in one of those cells. I don't know, that doesn't do anything. Okay, let's go back to if this is a 4, because that forces this to be a 4 for this 2 down here. Then we get this same situation in the top. That has to be a 4. Now that is a 4 in the central box. That is the only possible 4 in box 2, but it is at least possible. That is the second 4 surrounding the 2 in here. And we've now got 4s in these positions and we're loving it. So that is clearly possible. And that starts with a 4 here. So let's start with a 4 here. Now one of these 2 needs to be a 4 for that 2. Oh no, I'm going to start here. If this is a 4, where's this 2 going to get its 2 4s? Using the yellow line that 4 would be on. I think it's going to have to be there and there. So all of these positions would be 4s. And this doesn't work in box 7. So if that was a 4, the green 2 in the central box needs those to be 4s. This becomes a 4 in box 8. And in box 7, none of these positions can have a 4 because of the diagonals. So that is not a 4. So this 2 is getting a 4 above it in one of those cells in the Phistomefel ring. And in fact, there's another one in the Phistomefel ring there, and that's an X-wing. So one of these 2 is now a 4 by Sudoku, by X-wing. And that means the 4 in box 5 is not touching this 2, so it's going to have to get the one 4 there and the other 4 definitely here. Yes. Okay, that's a breakthrough. Now, none of these digits can be 4s. And that can't be a 4 on the grey line. So this is a 4, this is a 4. This is a 4 because of this pink line. This is now not a 4 on the diagonal. This is the 4 in box 6. Come on, 4s. You're doing your job now. I'm sorry about the confusion earlier, but you have to go through this pain. Now, that is not a 4 by vertical. That is not a 4 on the diagonal. And actually, I could have worked that out from this as well. That is 4 in the corner. One of those is a 4. Now, this 2 needed only one 4 touching it. So that's the last 4 down at the bottom. That's the last 4 up at the top. And suddenly all the 4s are done. This digit is not a 4, but it is white, yellow. This digit is not. Okay. Okay, that is that is a serious advance in this puzzle for me. And that was not easy. That was not easy. Now, this 2 is fulfilled. In fact, we've done all the 4s, so all the 2s are fulfilled. Then they're all correct. So all the circles are fulfilled. That possibly not the well, actually, since we've put all 1s, 2s and 4s in the grid, the only possibility of a circle mattering is us finding a 3 somewhere, and I think it would have to be in these cells that we would notice isn't allowed to touch 3 6s. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we can forget the circles now and remember the diagonals and the colouring of 5 7 9s and try and finish the puzzle somehow. Let's look at 6s. We've got 3 of them, and then pencil marks for 2 of them. Yeah, we've got to put 6 on the blue line that's 9 cells, the grey line, maybe not on this line. This has no 2 on it, but there's also some other number missing off it. Oh, 3 by Sudoku is now in one of those 2. Hadn't seen that. 3 is somewhere up there. Is it time to start adding up the Phistomefel ring? No. No, it's not. That is a rule that we're going to come to at some point, and it's going to be freaky. Oh, yellow and blue can't be in these cells. So, yellow and blue are in these cells, and they're in these cells along with 3. These are yellow, blue, and 3. That's quite interesting. And the other cells are 6, 8, and red. Now, which one of them can't be 8? Any? No. That's interesting, though. I need to use the diagonals on 3s, 6s, and 8s. That's the only way we're going to make progress, I think. But I'm just not sure. 8 in this box is in one of those 3 cells. Oh, 4. 4 is a potentially naughty digit. Okay, maybe we're not finished with circles on 4s. Because if you put a 4 somewhere where it could see 2 2s and 2 8s, like here, and it doesn't have a circle, is that interesting? Okay, I mean, it's barely going to matter. It might matter for that one cell. This one can't possibly see 3 8s. In fact, it would need 4 8s because it's not touching a 2. So for that cell, it might matter that these 2 mustn't both contain 8s. These pairs, dominoes, what you call them. But it's interesting that. That is, I mean, I hadn't thought of it. I have now, and it hasn't helped. Okay, I think it's more Sudoku though. We've got red and blue to put down here along with a 3. Now, if that was a 3, this couldn't be, so that would be a 3. Then we'd have a 3 in one of these cells. We know there's a 3 in one of these. Same sorts. Yeah, that's getting a little interesting. 3 in one of those cells, and now we would have 3s having to be on the grey, blue and orange lines. That would use up all the 3s for those long grey, blue and orange lines. And therefore the 3 up here would be in one of those. I mean, this is convoluted. It's probably not necessary. Also, this column has got 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 in it, so there's only 1 3 somewhere there. And the others are red, blue and yellow. If only I could see how that might help. Oh, this digit sees red on the line, blue and yellow in the column. So it's either 3 or 8. It can't be red, blue or yellow. That's interesting. Is this a red, blue, yellow set with 8 there? If 8 was there, 8 would have to be in one of these cells. I already know 8 is in one of these 3 in box 5 because of that and that, which is a little more restrained or constrained than I realized already. 8 is in one of these 3 though in the other box, and this pink hasn't been sullied by an 8 yet. These 3 are red, blue, and 3. We need another yellow somewhere down here. I don't know what we're meant to do. Double the fun, lithium ion, really. One, 6, 4. There's no 2 on that line. It's too short a line to hope to help, I think. Right, let's have a look at the long blue line again. 1, 2, 4 are done. 8, 3, 6, and the 3 colours still to go. Okay, yellow can't be in those cells. Imagine that's yellow. Then yellow can't be in these 2, and it also can't be there. So it would be on this grey line. Now yellow couldn't be on blue or grey in box 3 and would have to be there on the orange line. Now yellow would be on one of those cells, not that one, so it would definitely be here. Okay, we've got something going on yellow here. It would have to be there. And it would be in one of these 2 and one of these 2, and that seems feasible. Okay, all that told me is that yellow sees that cell, so it's not yellow. Sorry. So one of those is yellow. They both see that, but that's already seen by yellow. So it turned out to be possible for yellow to be there. I suppose it's probably equally possible for it to be in one of these. If it was there, that would be yellow. I mean, this is very hard to get a handle on. It really is. Lithium ion's a cruel beast. 8 is in one of those cells. How do I use that? Don't know. 3's in one of those. 3's in one of... Oh yes, if that was a 3, that would be a 3. That's in some ways the easier thing. Maybe I should say if that's a 3, then that's a 3, and this is an 8 here, so that's an 8. That's interesting about 8s actually. But let's just focus on 3's. It'd be a 3 in one of those 2 cells. I've already got that 3 in the grid. We'd now have to have a 3 in one of those 2, and that would use up blue and grey, so that would have to be the 3 at the top. And that would leave a 3 definitely there. Then we'd have to have a 3 in one of those 2 in box 4, and that would cancel out the middle as a possible. That grey cell cancels out that one. come on, fail here, 3. And the trouble is it succeeds. 3 can exist if it starts in row 4, column 9. That is an utter disappointment. An utter disappointment, I tell you. Am I sure that those are all on different diagonals? Yes, I am. Okay, let's try 8 there, because that makes this an 8. And this would happen in concert with those 3s. Then that would be 8 by Sudoku. And one of these two would be 8 accordingly. 8 is already there, so one of those two would be 8, and that's an X-wing. We'd get an 8 here, and that's impossible. Right, this digit can't be 8, because it puts 8 there and 8 here. That being on this orange line makes 8 in box 1 in one of those cells. This being here makes 8 in column 4 in one of those. But that is not allowed due to the vertical, and that is not allowed due to the diagonal. So this is not an 8, and therefore it must be a 3 by elimination. Now, that wasn't the position where we formulated all the 3 possibilities, and that's a great shame. But still, we've got a digit in the puzzle, and I'm not going to cavil about that. This is either red or 8, this digit. If it's red, that's a 6-8 pair. Can I use 3? I don't know how. This could be 8 as far as I know. That's annoying. Oh no, maybe this will give the same problem. If that was, in fact, is this the same problem? That would be 8. That would be 8. Let's try this again. 8 in one of those, 8 in one of those. Now 8 can theoretically be there. Where have we got it? We see this now could work. And that is honestly very frustrating. I honestly think if I could just get 8s moving through the grid, I could probably get some traction on reds, blues and yellows and do something useful. Maybe I'm in the dreamland. Oh, that couldn't be 8 on the orange, so we'd have 8 in all of these places. And I think they're all different diagonals, which is as required by the rules. So, not only can that be 8, it's possibly a strong candidate for it. Alternatively, if that was 8, the 8 in column 9 would have to be there. We've got these ones done. The 8 would now be on the blue diagonal in box thingy, box 5. There'd be an 8 in one of those two cells. Oh, 8 would have to be in one of those two, so it wouldn't be in the center. And this is if that was an 8, it wouldn't be in the center, whereas if this was an 8, it would be. Now, in neither case, it appears, can 8 be in this cell, or have I just missed that? No, it can't. Oh, those two both see that. Oh, but hang on, 8 doesn't have to be in those two cells. 8 can also be in these two. Oh, botheration. Bobbins, if I may be so bold. Why won't this get any easier, ever? This is 3 blue and yellow, so these are 6, 8 and red. One of them is 8. And that 3, you know, it bade fair to give us something in the puzzle, and it gave us nothing. I suppose that was predictable somehow, but I did not predict it. Okay, if this is 8, that has to be. And that hasn't constrained much. Yes, it has. It's given only one place for 8 in box 4, which is very strange. I didn't expect that. So I'm starting with row 1, column 7 this time as 8, and then I've got 8s in these places. 8 would have to be there in box 1 and there. Gosh. Now, is this pattern broken somewhere? Please be broken somewhere. Don't think it is. It is a possible pattern of 8s. I don't know what to do with it. Maybe it really is time to think about the Phistomefel ring, but there's so much of it that is so variable. I can't bear the agony of trying to go through the combinations in that and add them all up. It would be madness. It would be madness, even if there was a parity possibility to use. It would be madness. I'm not doing it. Right, did I rule any of these cells out from being 8? I don't think I did. Let's try this one again. And I may be recapitulating what I've just done all over. The 8 in column 4 would have to be here based on that. Okay. So 8, I think I've worked out that this is possible. In fact, that is the set of 8s if we start in row 6, column 7. If we start here, then there's an 8 definitely there. Now one of those two, now definitely there. Oh, that's impossible. This can't be an 8. Oh, that's quite interesting. Right, I'm going to claim this can't be an 8 because the 8 in box 3 would have to be there. And now we've got 8s on the grey line and in row 5, so that would be the 8 in the central box, and now there's nowhere to put 8 in box 2. So that is not an 8. It's also not yellow. I was going to say, so it's blue, but actually it could be red. Oh, bother. But, if it was red, that would be 8. This digit is blue or red. It is not 8. Red could be in one of these or there, which is really annoying, but I'm trying to mark it so I understand what I'm finding. This is red or 8. If that's red, that is red. Don't suppose there's a chance we run into the same problem with red. Red would have to be in one of those two cells. And then it would have to be there. Oh my goodness, don't say red could fail. That would be great. That's if red is in row 5, column 7 I'm doing at the moment. That would have to be red in box 4 at this point. Then we've got this same deal with red in one of those two. Now red here though, the central box. Where's red going in the central box? Not on the blue line and not in row 5. So it would have to be in one of these two cells, and that rules out that one. And now red is going to have to be here or here. I don't think it's going to get ruled out, unfortunately, but it's remarkable how constrained a colour that I've only got one definite one of in the grid can become with one further postulation. Oh, and it's already been on grey, so that wouldn't be one, so that wouldn't be one, and that wouldn't be one. Red would be in these positions. Is there a fail here? There isn't a fail here. That's really interesting. Does that mean whatever this digit is ends up in those positions? No, I don't think it does, because if it's blue, it's a very different picture. Maybe I've started the colouring of yellow, red and blue in a very bad manner. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I mean, I've got to try something because I'm getting nowhere. Let's get rid of red and blue. Or say these are red and blue in some order. Let's rechristen this one red and the one that's in one of these cells blue, and see if that takes us anywhere at all. I don't think it will, but let's do it. Yellow and red there in this column. So we've got to fit 8, 3 and 6 in the column. This is either 8 or blue. If it was blue, what would that do? Okay, yeah, it would limit, because this digit can't be blue because they both see it. If that was blue, blue couldn't be here, so blue would be on the blue line over there. Then we've got quite a lot of blue ruled out in box 3. Not enough, maybe. Sorry, I started looking at 8s again. I couldn't help it. Couldn't help myself. I am concerned that I'm just not focusing enough on the fact that this grey line doesn't have a 2 on it. It needs to have all the other digits. So we've got to fit 8 onto it. Either there, or there, or there. I don't know. I mean, it just feels like that might matter a bit. We've got to fit 8 onto the blue line, either in one of those cells or there. No, it can't be there. 8 on the blue line has to be in one of those two. So that is not a possible 8. Oh, if only I could remember what that had told me in box 6 about the possible positions for 8. I'm an hour in. I've got no idea what. See, surely there was one of these positions that required 8 to be there. Now, okay, 8 has to be on the grey line somewhere, and it can't be there or there. It's now got to be either here or here. 8 on the grey line, and there is an 8 on the grey line because there's no 2 on it and there are 8 digits on it. So this can't be 8 by Sudoku or whatever the heck. Right. We're going back to blue and red. I don't know which way around they were before. And we know this can't be 8 because I've just worked it out. So it's red. Now this is red. And didn't this lead to something in red? I don't know, but maybe. This, oh, it was either red or blue in my earlier version. I said this couldn't be 8. That's the point. And it can't be yellow because of that cell. So let's just check that this can't be 8. If that was 8, that would be the 8 in the central box. Come on. Now, that would be 8. And now there's nowhere to put 8 in box 2, so that is not 8. This has to be blue. It's not yellow, it's not red, and it's not 8. It's blue. Well, that means this is blue in the final column because it can't be on the same diagonal. That means it's not 6. That means this is 6. This is wrong. This is wrong, wrong, wrong. That is not blue. Blue is in these cells, and I had that marked earlier successfully. These are blue, yellow, and green. Okay, no, sorry about that. These are 6 and 8, in fact. Facts. Now, red. Red cannot be here. Come on, red, do something. This red rules out those cells. Yes, those two can't be red and that can't be red. The red in column 6 is definitely here. So then there's a red somewhere over this side of the grid. There is no red on the orange line or in that cell. So one of these 3 is a red. And one of these 3 is a red. But it's not there, so it's either on the pink line Wow, I mean that was really, really interesting. One of these 2 is 8. That's what we worked. That's where we started this bit. I wish that meant something more to me now. We do need a 6 on the same line. That seems to be either here or here, nowhere else. If 6 was here, 6 in box 2 would have to be in one of those 2 cells. Then it would be in one of these 3, not on the grey. 6 down here would be in one of those 2. I can't work out if 6 has to be on the pink. I mean, if there's easier ways through this puzzle, I literally just don't believe it. Don't believe it. There might be slightly easier ways. I'm just saying it's not. There's no way there's a straightforward, easy way through this. Okay, maybe, did we get these places limited? Not really. Yellow is in one of those 2 cells in the bottom row, blue or grey. So if it was here, it would be blue there and it would have to be up here. Yellow, this is focusing on. Then yellow would have to be there in the central box, there in row 6. One of those 2, but that's probably resolved. It is. The yellow would be in these positions, and that's impossible. Right. Okay, I'm going to allege then that this can't be yellow, because it forces yellow to be there. Let's just go through this again. We've got yellows in those positions. Yellow now has to be there because it can't be on the blue line anymore. Orange. And there, consequently. And up here we've had it on blue and grey, so it would have to be there, yellow, yes, but that repeats on orange. So it's impossible. Yellow is not here. This is yellow. This, therefore, we've found yellow, blue and red. This is 8. And that is 6 on the same line with 8 here. Now, come on, can I just do 8s or 6s or something? 8, come on, what have we got? We've got 5 8s done. We know there's one in one of these positions. We now know there's one in one of those positions in box 4. And now that places 8 in the central box on the blue line, it places it in box 2. On the grey line, that doesn't resolve these ones, and it doesn't resolve the last 2, but we've got a lot of 8s now. 6 now has to be in one of those 2 in box 2. One of these 3, but we've had it on grey, so one of those 2 in box 5. Oh, we've had it there as well. So, in fact, in this row, we've only got blue and red still to place. Yeah, we could maybe do some of this bloomin' fatuous colour placing. Oh, we've got 6, 8, 1, 4 on this line. 2 is not going to get on it. 3 could be anywhere, but we've only got 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 yellow allowed. No, I don't know. I don't know about that. 6, 6, 6. 6 in grey there, so this is not 6. 6 is in one of these 2. And therefore in column 2, it's in one of these 3. One of these 2, because of that 6. So it's blue or grey there. Grey or orange here. I mean, you can push it around this grid. If it was grey there, it's blue there, then it's a different blue there, and then it's pink here. And then there's one up in the corner, which would resolve the 8s. Now, the alternative is that that's 6, that's 6. Now 6 has to be here in box 2. Now 6 is in one of those positions in box 1, which is annoying, because I don't think these have been ruled out in box 7. Okay, so 6 I can't really do at the moment. It's going to make me cry. Yellow. Yellow in the central box is in one of those 2 positions. If it was here, that fixes yellow down here. Then yellow has to be in one of those 2. We've got it there. It's going to be in one of these 2. It can't be blue or grey, so it would have to be there, so that fixes it. Right, we would get yellows in these positions. Can I see anything wrong with that? Obviously already got those 2. I think that works okay. So that could be yellow. The alternative is that this is yellow. Then one of those 2 is yellow, one of these 2 is yellow. We've already got these ones. Got an X-wing on yellows, so one of those 2 would be yellow. Now, yellow can't be on the orange line now, so it would have to be on one of these 2, which are the blue and grey counterparts. Down there. I don't know, I can't rule that out as being yellow. Is there any cell in this box that sees red, blue and yellow? I don't think there is. Or certainly not one still waiting to be filled. That can't be red or yellow. So if that was blue, that would be blue. Blue's now in one of those 2. Oh, and one of these 2. So grey and blue line blues are sorted. What is this blue? I don't know. That's not conclusive. Oh, it's so depressing that you make strides and it doesn't just come together. Yellow in the central box is orange or blue. Yellow in this box is blue or grey, and yellow in this box is orange, blue or grey. So it is going to use up orange, blue and grey for all yellows. It's orange or blue in box 5, very specifically. It doesn't do it, does it? Can I find some other line like this one? Can we say this can't have a 6 on it or something? No, it can. Only in one position. Does it have to have a 6 on it because it can't have a 3? No, it's this. That's why I wanted to rule 6 off it, because then every other digit would have to be on it. Wow, this is insanely hard. Okay, let's go back to red. These two can't be red. So one of these 3 is red. Also one of these 3. No, not that one, because it's on the orange line. So red is in one of those 2 cells. Okay, let's just look at that. Red is in one of those 2 cells. Where's blue here? If I could rule blue out of this cell, it would have to be a 3. Probably do nothing, but I'm determined to look at it. If this was blue, we'd have blue in one of those 2. We've got blue here and here. And in one of these 3. So blue in the central box, again, grey, blue or orange. It's the same sort of, blue would be in one of those 2. So this is the northern grey or pink. In fact, one of these is a 3. I've only just figured that out. That's just Sudoku. And one of these 2 is a 3, and they are therefore a 3-6 pair, and they're not red, yellow, or blue. I mean, that's interesting. Where's the blue in this column? Well, these 2 are red and blue in some order. That's what's going on there. Okay, well, I mean, good grief and above. Why has it taken me so long to get any sense of that? I don't know. This is a 3-6 pair. These are red, blue and yellow. That one is blue or yellow. This one is red or yellow. I'd give a lot to know which was which in this central box, because then we could populate the rest of the blooming grid. These include one colour. These include only one colour, and 8 and 3 or 6. This is a colour that is blue or red. Oh, well, it's on a line with a red on it. Right, so now we know. We've got the colours in the central box. 73 minutes. And we've done something. This is now blue. I don't know that this is... Oh, yeah, this is red, because that can't be red. Oh, bingo. Bingo, baby. That's 3 in the box. This is not 3, because it's red. We're finding colours everywhere now. We need a red... Okay, don't worry about that. Goodness me, blue can't be there. Yellow can't be there. This can't be yellow, red or blue. And it's not 1, 8, 2, 4 or 3. That is 6 by force majeure. Right, we need a 6 on the blue line somewhere. That's going to have to be here in the middle. So that's 3. And now this isn't 3. It's also not yellow or red. And it's not 3. It's definitely blue. These are 3 and yellow in some order. That's definitely blue. That's definitely blue in box 2, and it's not 6, so that's 6. This is happening, guys. That's a 6. That's a 6. 6s are done. This is yellow to complete the row. That's therefore not yellow, and that is. Now, one of these 2 is yellow, and I probably should know which by now, but never mind about that. Let's just keep going, keep going. We've got loads of reds. I've got 6 reds. Another one can't be here. One of these 2 is red. And in the bottom row, this is red in the corner. So there we go. There we go. These 2 are definitely red. Oh, this is lovely. This is lovely. I'm feeling the absolute frisson of excitement. This is an 8-3 pair. I don't know. The lines aren't telling me which way round they are. That's really annoying. Oh, I'm going to be able to look at the Phistomefel ring soon. Oh, This is, no, there's a yellow up here somewhere. Right, let's look at yellow again. One of these two is yellow. Oh, where's blue in the box 1? There it is. So this digit is 3 or 8 again. We've got a 3 in one of these cells and a blue, but the blue can't be there. So blue is here, that's a 3. Okay, I'm getting absolutely wildly excited now. One of these is yellow. Why are the diagonals not telling me which? Yeah, they are. That is looking at that cell. That is not yellow. This one is yellow and is not 3, and therefore 3 is placed here. Yellow, red, blue are done in this row, so that digit is a 3. This one at the top is yellow. That's yellow. I seem to have got yellow, red, blue in every box in the puzzle. They're all done. How am I not done on 3s and 8s? That's so weird. Oh look, 3 on that diagonal sorts it out. Okay, it's not that weird. Don't get a 3 in the corner. Right, 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, 8 are done. We're just left with red, yellow and blue, which are 5, 7 and 9 in some order. And now we are going to add up the Phistomefel ring somehow. Right, red, yellow and blue are each 1 of 5, 7, 9. Let's take, I think we can take one version of each Sudoku digit. Okay, I'm going to colour those green because they add up to definitely 45. We've got one of each colour, 4, 8, 1, 2, 6, 3. That is 45. Plus 4, 4, 1 and 8 is 49, 50, 58, 62. Right, here it is. The remaining cells that we're going to have to count are 2 yellows and a blue. We've got 62, 2 yellows and a blue. Right, well let's do some maths. 60, say the double digit was a 5. There must be 6 combinations of this. That's so weird. Right, 62, 2 5s takes us to 72, plus a 7 is 79. Well, that is prime. So first possibility is a real possibility. 2 yellow 5s, 1 blue 7. But if blue was 9, that would be 81, which is not prime, it's 9 squared. So if the 2 yellows were 7s, 62 plus 2 7s is 76, plus either 5 is 81 again, no good, or plus 9 is 85, which is obviously divisible by 5, so that doesn't work. So yellow isn't 7. 2 9s in yellow would be 62 plus 18 is 80, plus a 5 for 85 divisible by 5, plus a 7 for 87 divisible by 7, divisible by 3, I mean 3 times 29. So it's true. There is only, I mean, it was entirely predictable, but it is true. There is only one possibility. It was the first one we tried, with yellow being 5, so we're going to fill that in, and blue being 7, 2 yellows and 1 blue, and now the Phistomefel ring adds up to 79, which is prime, and I'm going to fill in these reds as 9s, and that, oh hang on, that hasn't said it's correct. I'm sure that's correct. Let's just add this up again slowly from here. 1, 10, 14, 21, 26, 30, 38, 39, 41, 45, 50, 56, 59, 64, 71, 79. That's what I wanted. Right, let's just check the Sudoku. Well, this would have highlighted if it just says that's not the solution. Oh my goodness. How is it not the solution? It is the solution. Okay, I'm going to have to look at the lines again in a moment to see if I can't believe I've made a mistake at this stage. It was brilliant and it worked. Let's look at these lines. 6, 9, 2, 5, no repeats. 3, 6, 5, 1, 2. 587492, 1782439, 729351849, 932867154. That's all right. 638194755, 6954718, 945613, 78362, 3962. I am absolutely convinced that this works. Oh, well, the circles. Now, I mean, I've checked them a million times as we went through it. Even this 4 did not end up with 3 black dot digits around it. Or sorry, it did end up with 3, not with 4. This 2 has got a single one. I'm absolutely sure this is right. I don't understand why it hasn't come up as right. I'm going to investigate, and I will be back in a second. And I hope I have news. Hang on. Right, this is, as far as I know, this is the first instance of this happening. Lithium ion created a correct puzzle, which I have solved correctly. Hurrah! He, however, saved it in the software with the wrong solution. And in fact, it turns out he's provided some solution notes which mention, I don't know what colours he used. There were 3 colours for 5, 7 and 9. I think you have to do it that way. And he said that one of them was 5, the next one was 9, and the other one was 5, or something like that, and then filled it in wrong. So I'm sorry, lithium ion, I am calling you out, but that was a very confusing moment for me, to be perfectly honest. Horrible moment, but my solution is correct, and by the time you have solved this puzzle yourself, Mr. Viewer, Miss Viewer, the solution will come up as correct as I filled it in. Good grief, what a terrifying, terrifying moment that was. But it's brilliant. It's still a brilliant puzzle, by the way. It's an absolutely brilliant puzzle, but it would have helped me if the correct solution had been input. Oh, I'm delighted. Oh, I'm so relieved. I will see you guys again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.